Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Silver Years. My name is DK, and I'm very happy to be here, and I humbly thank you for joining me. Now, today I want to talk about intelligence, or what we've been taught to believe constitutes intellect in today's society. I think most of us are aware of the so called scientific barometers employed by our educational system and the mental health realms to assess intellect and cognitive ability, according to the standards that were set by those in the know. An example being the standardized IQ test, IQ being intelligence quotient. Have you ever taken an IQ test and been led to believe that maybe you're not the brightest bulb on the tree when in fact you're a genius in your own mind? It seems most of this testing is done on us as children within the school system as a way to not only rank those that might prove useful to the matrix down the road, because we all know those databases are kept somewhere for future reference. But these tests are also used to pigeonhole a child's potential according to some arbitrary parameters established by whom? Who established the standards for intelligence? When I look up the word intelligence in the dictionary, it's defined as the ability to acquire, understand, and use knowledge. Seems pretty broad on the surface, right? There's no mention of what kind of knowledge, just the ability to acquire, understand, and use the knowledge. Yet, the way it's promoted in our world, it becomes synonymous with academic credentials, money, and ultimately success. So when the masses think of intelligent people, who do they think of first? Their mother, perhaps? Their father? Or maybe someone they know personally? No. The top of the list is usually who the entertainment machine has propped up as the smart ones for us to emulate. You know, those genius billionaires that wouldn't be billionaires unless they were geniuses, right? Men, men with little integrity or character. Men like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, and even Jeffrey Epstein, to name just a few. If only we could all be as intelligent as they are, then maybe we'd all be rich and successful too. But what good does the intelligence of these artificial icons do you when you're trapped in the swamp, for example? None of their money is going to help you when you're face to face with an alligator in the swamp. This is when you'd give anything for the intelligence and wisdom that would come from those born and raised in the swamp, those who hold the knowledge and know how to use it, not illusionary, fake genius billionaires. Clearly, there are different kinds and levels of intelligence in our world. Like most things I talk about, this is a multi layered dynamic, which becomes evident when peeling back the layers. Standardized testing based on arbitrary and artificial standards can in no way address this diversity. But I will say with certainty that having more money than you can ever spend is not grounds for determining intelligence, in spite of what the entertainment machine would lead us to believe. Academia, who is in cahoots with the corporate realm and its values, working side by side with corporation standards and demands, academia has convinced us over the last 40 to 50 years that without the proper credentials, diplomas, certificates, and licensing, we aren't intelligent enough to be employed, even at an entry level. Makes you wonder whatever happened to the ancient concept of apprenticeship when learning the expertise of a trade or talent from a skilled working professional was considered the best training. versus learning it from an academically credentialed professor standing at a podium in front of a chalkboard who's telling you how to make widgets when he's never made a widget before in his life. Where is the intelligence in that? Just asking. Now, I'm not here to diminish the importance of proper education and training in a profession that may require it. What I do have a problem with is how the system has, over the course of my lifetime, discounted the value of hands on training in favor of a diploma, a piece of paper, kind of like our fiat currency, and an expensive piece of paper at that. This has fostered an unconscious society riddled with educational elitism as just another way to separate and divide us. I have observed this upper classism projected onto the uncredentialed by those with the diploma time and time again. And it's often reflected with an attitude of intellectual superiority over those without the diploma, bordering on snobbery even. My first exposure to this was watching how my father treated his parents after completing his advanced degree. My father was the youngest of 6 children. His parents, my grandparents, were basically simple country folk whose formal education did not go beyond the 6th grade. And my father was the first and only child in his family to go to college and graduate. Instead of celebrating his achievements while making himself and his parents proud, he behaved as if he was ashamed of his parents for being stupid hillbillies. He looked upon his parents with disdain and treated them that way. He completely discounted as irrelevant the important country wisdom of our ancestors that they carried within. They had access to wisdom he could never see or appreciate. His loss, in my humble opinion. Now, the push to be credentialed, in fact, has been so demanded by the corporate realm that we were taught to believe that getting a diploma at any cost or debt load in exchange for favorable, good paying jobs was essential. And of course, the intelligent thing to do. And now we see all of those promised, favorable, good paying corporate jobs disappearing. They're being taken away, removed, and permanently deleted as academically trained employees with diplomas and massive student debt are being replaced by AI, artificial intelligence. The most alarming part to me in all of this is not necessarily the AI component. That was to be expected. AI most definitely has, you know, AI most definitely has issues that humanity will need to address quick, and with enthusiasm. But it was always going to play a part when the collective consciousness was ready. And clearly, that time is now. What alarms me the most is how the push for academic programming over hands on experience has limited the IQ. It has limited the intelligence quotient of the population pursuing the diploma. What do I mean by that? From my decades of working corporate experience, it seemed to me that the higher the credential or letters after one's name, the more authoritative and defensive the holder of that credential becomes. In other words, those who have reached what they believe to be the pinnacle of knowledge, according to academia, in their field of focus, often act as if they have acquired all there is to know on the subject and then become closed off to other perspectives, especially a perspective that might come from an outsider, a non credentialed source, because those who are not academically trained couldn't possibly have anything of intelligence to offer. What I personally noticed was the higher the education, the more resistant they became to learning new things that may come from a source not connected to academia. The mind becomes closed off to ideologies that might go beyond the realm of their academic peers and the system gatekeepers. This capping off of the mind, like a glass ceiling, serves to close off their minds to expanding consciousness. It creates artificial limits. And from where I sit, the more they think they know, the less they know. Academia's focus is on mind memorization and compliance to authority in exchange for credentials, with little to no focus on the emotional body and its intelligence. This places the mind's intelligence, the brain, above the intelligence of the body. It separates the brain from the body, when in fact the two need to work together and be equally developed to create balance within. This is where intuition comes in. Intuition is in the body and its auric field, not the brain. It is something you feel using your senses, not something you think. It is centered in the heart. It has no basis in brain intelligence. It is rooted in emotional intelligence and subtle awareness. So tell me, who can offer you a diploma or credential for that? You know, sometimes we just know. We just know what we know. And we can't always explain why we know, but we know. And that emotionally intelligent knowing is valid and true. What may make sense to the mind may not make sense to the heart. And creation is dependent on a heart mind connection of matching frequency and congruency. The mind and the heart must connect in order to create. I'm going to say that again. The mind and the heart must connect in frequency in order to create. And when the mind and the heart do not connect within your energetic field, we experience what some call cognitive dissonance, which is basically an inner conflict. Your mind may see the problem, but your heart isn't connected enough to see how you are part of that problem. So the problem is out there, outside of you, and but it has nothing to do with you. This is separation within. Now, we are designed to be whole energy beings, yet our energy fields have been systematically compartmentalized and disconnected from themselves, much to our detriment. Our mind, body, spirit aspects have been hijacked by a system intent upon controlling each aspect and dividing them against each other so nothing works together in harmonious balance. We have been convinced to hand our power over to these systems that we've been told are more intelligent than we are. Academia got our minds, medical got our bodies, religion got our spirits. And none of these groups bring it all together. So it's on us now to do it. It's time we reunite our mind, body, spirit selves within and create what we really want from a place of balance. It's time to stop judging intelligence on the limited criteria established by academia and the matrix system around us. There is intelligence and wisdom in everything. Let's embrace it with open minds and expand together. So, what have I come to know today? I've come to know that the more I know, the less I know. So, I'd like to leave you with a question to ponder, as I like to do. And that question is, who do you think is the most intelligent person you know. Could even be yourself. Please leave your comments below. I would love to hear your stories. So until next time, be well, choose love, and thank you. Thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.